Hello everyone, apa khabar? Marhaba ya Qatar. You're watching the Footy Forum Qatar World Cup 2022. And as we've reached the semi-final stages after a 3 week of pulsating football, only 4 teams are left standing, and we'll be taking a preview of the 2 semi-finals, one between Argentina against Croatia, followed by France against Morocco. So for all Footy fans and those who are loyal, those who have been loyal to the Footy Forum, stay tuned, and we'll be discussing with 3 gentlemen who are experts in their own field. Do not forget, please, those who are creative enough, please drop your comments on the Sinar Daily Facebook and also the YouTube channel. You stand to win exclusive prizes from Sinar Daily and our sponsors. Do drop some creative and fun comments if you can, yeah. And those selected will be read by the host, yours truly, Rizal Hashim. So tonight I'll be joined by, on my right is Saad Ichalalene, former, yeah, I have to use former.
Yeah, you have to
I'm
use
sorry.
former.
Former technical director of National Football Development Plan (NFDP). Thank you again. Merci
Thanks to
beaucoup,
you.
monsieur.
You're welcome.
Okay. And beside Saad is Mr. Haresh Deol, executive editor. Executive editor? You're the editor, sorry. Editor, that means above the executive editor. Of 2013.
Yes, it is.
Dot my.
Yes, it is.
Did I get it right?
Yes,
Got it right.
did.
Okay.
But if you want to add the former there, you can say former colleague.
Former colleague at?
Millennial.
Okay. Extreme right is Peter de Roo, now currently coach of Balestier Khalsa in Singapore, and also a former FA of Malaysia technical director. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Okay, so tonight, before we start discussing the semi-finals, the much-awaited semi-finals, let's discuss the standard of refereeing. Has it been satisfactory, Peter?
Well, the fact that you asked that question, because you shouldn't be talking about referees, then it's good, right? And then that's the way I look at it, because usually I don't even remember who the referee is. I'm very bad at that. And there's a few games here where you
can name a few.
Well, I still remember the name, but I know exactly it is about the referee. He was in the limelight, and that's usually not how it should be.
Yeah. Which one do you remember most?
Well, the most recent was of course Argentina against Netherlands,
yeah.
Where I think
the Spanish referee Antonio Mateo Lahoz.
Yeah.
18 yellow cards.
18 yellow cards, a few after the game, by the way. I think 3 maybe, for players on the bench as well. But yeah, I think he let the game go out of control completely. This was not so much about wrong calls. Yeah, in the end it is, but it was also not being able to recognize when things go out of control, and then, you know, take your role as a referee to make sure that it doesn't get out of control. Because it got heated, I think he could have stopped that earlier and should have.
But as a referee in La Liga, he has earned praises from even Jose Mourinho, saying that he was.
I don't know if that's the best reference, but.
Why not?
Well, when you see him behave on the sidelines sometimes.
Ranting, yeah. Haresh.
Yeah.
What's your opinion when it comes to the standard of refereeing?
I mean,
can you name maybe 1 or 2 referees who have been mired in a controversy?
No, I mean, there are at least 3 or 4 of them who have not, what do you call, they've pretty much been axed. They won't be
sent home. Yeah, they've been sent home. Yeah,
they won't be seeing any action in the semi-finals. But more importantly, going back to Antonio, correct?
Yeah,
the Spanish referee.
Mateo Lahoz.
Yeah, he's been described as a fanboy. Simply because of Messi.
Yeah.
Because everything Messi does is all okay. You know, the thumb.
The thumbs up. Yeah.
He's Mr. Thumb, by the way.
Oh, that was pretty clear with the handball.
Yeah.
Because he talked him out of that handball, and that I think set the tone a little bit with Dutch players as well. They shouldn't have get carried away, because in the end you can't change it, get on with it. But Messi clearly got away with something where no other player gets away with, in my opinion.
But on a bigger, larger context, sorry
yeah.
Rizal, but on a larger context, I find this whole refereeing thing a bit odd. I mean, please correct me if I'm wrong. From the start of the World Cup, I mean, the fact that, you know, the first opening match, within 3 minutes of play, and bam, you've got a VAR. You know, and it just spoiled the momentum, spoiled the tempo. And then next thing you know, today we are speaking about the quality of refereeing, and you would expect that for a referee to be at that level, you must have clocked in your years, your you know, stuff like that. And you know, going back to the fact that you mentioned Antonio was with the La Liga, and that's how he forged that relationship with Messi. But let's not forget that he has fumbled on a few other matches. I think there was a Champions League match between two Premier League teams, Liverpool and another one, I can't really remember. That was a really huge controversy involving him.
Saad.
We should have got Cikgu Sukidin.
Cikgu Sukidin was a referee, but he was only a fourth official 2010 edition in South Africa.
Correct.
The quality of refereeing, surely it affects your performance as a player.
Yeah, of course it can affect your performance, especially at that level when there is a high level of tension. But I do believe that referees' mistake are part of the game, like players' mistake or coaches' mistake. So of course, when you play at that level in that type of event, you're much more exposed. And let's not forget also one point. This is that with all this extra time provided during all the games, I think we play almost 10% more since the beginning. So of course, it increases the fatigue for the players, but also the referees and the possibility to do mistakes. But I do not believe that we should talk too much about that, to be honest, because they are part of the game. They have been part of the game at any level.
But you cannot start a match without a referee.
That's it.
So
you better accept the performance, right?
but surely they come under great scrutiny.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so it is a privilege actually to be appointed to officiate in a match. But with so much at stake, you know, maybe the fans are also expecting something close to perfection in their performance, Peter.
Yeah,
and
okay.
now that they have assistance in the form of VAR.
Yeah, no, that's true. But I do think that Saad makes a valid point, and that's how I usually approach it as well. Obviously, anybody involved in a game of football makes mistakes, and referees as well. Where it, for me, becomes a little bit problematic, because you can always miss something. That is not really a problem. Players make mistakes and miss a pass or whatever, but a good referee can sell his mistake, and that's what I missed a little bit with the referees. But in the end, let's not waste too much time on it.
Okay. Haresh, the Brazilian referee Wilton Sampaio. You know, the English players were complaining that the goal scored by Aurélien Tchouaméni, the opening goal for France, there was a foul by Upamecano on Saka, but the referee did not blow the whistle on that particular moment. So what do you think? Do you think that it was a valid complaint?
Look, the English law. So what was the complaint? You know, and yeah, this type of things do happen. And I remember what Steve Darby once told me. He said, look, referees making mistakes, we all go to the pubs later, we drink and we complain and we whine about it, but they make good content, they make good conversation. So you know what, why should we be complaining? You know?
No, that's why I'm creating this conversation.
So you know, yeah, but then again, isn't he you know, earmarked for the final? I mean,
not really, but he's staying. He's staying. He has not been sent home.
Yeah, but they are saying that he could
a possibility of
refereeing.
But I don't think so. Maybe those. I think the Italian referee for tonight's match. I think maybe one of the candidates. Yeah.
Depends on how they perform as well.
Okay, next topic. For many years, for the past decade, more than a decade, the rivalry between Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo is about to come to an end. So, who would be the next generation to have that kind of rivalry? The 2 or 3 players that can be emulating that intense rivalry, and with their own fandom and fanboys, following them. Haresh?
You see, Messi and Ronaldo, they've both enjoyed that time to build their legion of fans on and off the field. Yeah, and to suddenly expect somebody new to pretty much mirror them at this particular point in time, I don't see two individuals that stand out like what they've done on and off the pitch. Yeah, both on and off the pitch. But the one person who I believe has actually done way better than both of them, and he has got a really bright future ahead of him, and we've not even seen the best of him yet, is actually the French player Mbappe. Yep. I think he's got a solid 3 to 5 years ahead of him. His game is evolving. He's only 22, 23 this year? 23 this year. And he's already won a World Cup? Something that Messi and Ronaldo will never achieve, because this is pretty much their last World Cup. Yeah.
Messi stands a chance.
I doubt it.
No, sorry.
No way. Yeah, no way. No way. So yeah, I mean, look, he's achieved what both of them have not achieved.
Yeah.
He's got a bright future.
Yeah.
Look at the brands that are attached to him.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone.
But his detractors claim that he has yet to win Ballon d'Or. Messi has had one by the age of 23. He had won at least one.
Ask that question to Messi and Ronaldo, and I think they will say that they would prefer World Cup anytime. You know?
But on online debate, they say that the potential of Mbappe and Erling Haaland, for example, But the problem is Haaland is not playing in the World Cup. Norway needs to step up. Needs to be a strong superpower at European level. So in order for Haaland to at least try to match Ronaldo, what do you think, Peter?
Well, he's a little bit more. I see the picture. He's a little bit more difficult to sell than Ronaldo, probably. But no, look. I think these questions are very hard, because these guys had a career over which is very long, and which makes it so incredible as well. When you look at the records of goals made, scored, amount of games played for national teams, and in domestic competitions, that is second to none. Try to even make it 17 years at that level. But I completely agree with Haresh. If there is one, I think it's Kylian Mbappe, for sure. He has everything. He can score. He can dribble. He can create, and is already incredibly decisive at his age, and was that already 4 years ago. If there is anybody who has a chance to emulate that, then it would be him, in my opinion.
Who's going to rival Mbappe then? Saad?
I guess Erling Haaland is already doing this. But of course, the fact that he played for Norway is somehow a kind of handicap, because it's more difficult to perform at the highest level. Let's don't forget that if Mbappe win this World Cup, he will have already 2 World Cup at 23 years old. So this is something amazing.
That is definitely better than a Ballon d'Or.
Yeah, exactly.
So they will all sign for that.
And even at this point, he's the top scorer with 5 goals and 2 assists.
Today is a top scorer of the World Cup, top scorer of the Champions League, top scorer of the League One, all in the same time. At 23 years old and playing with Neymar and Messi. So of course this is something to be considered. Then to match that level and that charisma also, because let's not forget that it takes more than football. Because the 2 guys that we are talking about with Messi and Ronaldo are not football players, are brains as well. So let's see how he managed that, because the episode of the transfer to Real Madrid last year affected a bit his image. But I do believe if we talk about football, of course he's
eventually he'll be going to Santiago Bernabeu.
It's not that easy, because I guess I've been hurt last time. So more so, the fans can forget easily usually.
Yes, in football we are so fickle-minded.
So if he scores some goals,
it is an important question though, because I think to be able to emulate that, you need to be very careful in which clubs you pick.
Exactly.
And if you make a mistake,
but he needs to leave Paris Saint-Germain,
he won't
in order
play.
to earn that recognition, he has to leave and he has to go to
Yeah, because I
at
don't
least
think he
either
will.
Barcelona or Real Madrid. No?
That's the choice. I don't
Yeah.
think he will play all his career with Paris Saint-Germain. He will be more like Ronaldo. So he needs to be very careful which clubs he's going to, who's coaching them, how do they play, and I think that's going to be very important.
If you look about the last maybe 25 years, you will see that usually Barcelona and Real Madrid are Ballon d'Or makers.
Yes,
You
true.
will find through
Yes,
the
in order
history
to win
many
Ballon d'Or,
many
you have to
players
be-
there. Yeah.
yes.
So, but let's see how maybe he could perform this year if PSG win by chance the World Cup as a
Champions
Champions
League.
League, then it can change the whole story also. So this is something to be considered.
Correct. Perhaps he's the key to changing the fortunes at PSG as well.
Maybe.
Who are among the outstanding young performers in this tournament so far? Haresh?
I mean, there are quite a few. I think the Croatian defender whose name just
Guardiola.
slips me.
Guardiola.
Yeah, he's what
Did
6'1", 6'2", you know.
6'2", yeah.
Yeah, he's a really good defender. He's and then the what do you call goalkeeper as well.
Livakovic.
He's been really Livakovic, correct. Sorry, the names just keep slipping me, but yeah, he's been really good between the posts. I mean, he's pretty much the Great Wall of Croatia. The saves that he's really amazing. Yeah, and yeah, I mean, these two from Croatia really stand out. I know when people talk about Croatia, they just look at the aging, the likes of
Modric.
Luka Modric and the rest.
Perisic,
but
yeah.
yeah, they've got so many others. I think there's another one from Brazil as well.
Vinicius?
Vinicius, correct.
Vinicius or Richarlison? Saad?
Richarlison's goal was good.
Saad?
Yeah, I would mention also Guardiola as one of the most performing youngsters. I would say as well Foden, which didn't start the first games,
Phil Foden? Yeah.
but then came out being on the first 11 and did quite well. Saka also has a great World Cup. Chouameni with France,
Germany.
which is also playing his first international moment, did quite well. So you have some others, especially in the US in the midfield, you have one or two youngsters.
Tyler Adams?
Yeah,
Can be
Yunus,
considered
yeah,
as a
that-
youngster?
yeah,
He's
that
quite
can
being
be.
a skipper.
Which one?
Tyler Adams. There's
Yeah, but
The
you
Conte role,
have also
the
in Ghana as well,
Yeah.
some youngsters. So this is, of course, now we are going closing to the end and we keep focus on the four semi-finalists.
The
but,
semi-finalists, yeah. What about Jude Bellingham? At 19, he has shown
he
maturity.
has been amazing
Peter?
player. Musiala as well.
Jamal
Yeah,
Musiala,
well,
yeah.
that's
Musiala?
the one I'm really disappointed that I couldn't see a bit more of him.
Musiala.
And yeah, Bellingham. Yeah. Actually, they went Musiala, born in Germany,
Born in Germany, grew up in
grew up
England.
as a
UK.
player
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
UK, and then played for the youth teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For Chelsea, yeah.
And then but also for national youth teams. I
Yeah,
think he
with
played for the
Bellingham.
under
With
21.
With Bellingham,
With
yes.
Bellingham, yeah.
With Bellingham, yes.
I thought he was he's outstanding talent, to be honest. Yeah.
But who can you name me in 2018 edition the winner of the young footballer of the tournament was Mbappe.
Mbappe, yeah.
You know who do you think can emulate Mbappe for this year's edition?
Bellingham for me.
Bellingham for you, yeah.
True. Because Mbappe will be targeting for the most goal scored.
No, he's aiming for the golden ball.
I think
Golden
he
ball,
can win all. He can win all.
What is the age limit for that?
I think
23,
20 below 21, I think.
Oh, okay.
Because
21.
usually it's also a team that comes maybe in the final four and there's not much left that
Not much
actually
left,
are of
yeah.
that age.
Not many left, yeah.
I think Argentina midfielder Fernandez, what's his age?
Enzo Fernandez is 21, yeah. Enzo
Fernandez,
Fernandez, yeah.
But
Enzo Fernandez.
there won't be much more, I think.
Yeah.
True.
Chouameni is 22.
Yeah.
Okay, alright. Stay tuned to the Footy Forum Qatar World Cup 2022. We'll be previewing the semi-finals after this. Don't go anywhere.
Basics.
Joining me, Rizal Hashim, the host of the Footy Forum Qatar World Cup 2022. Now let us read a comment from Ziha Omar. Peter, as Dutch Netherlands as no longer in the running, as well as Japan, a team you supported from Asia. Who will be the 2022 World Cup champions? And what do you think of Morocco, Saad? And what do you think of France's performance so far? Peter, you might want to answer this.
Yeah, I thought you wanted to talk about that later too. So,
Yeah.
But
Let's respond to this.
yeah, then I think the team at the moment with probably the least weaknesses and most of the strengths is probably France. So I think they have the biggest chance, to be honest.
Okay. Saad?
Yeah, I agree with
Morocco.
I agree with Peter regarding France. And to be honest, of course, we know the quality that can display this team. But looking at the list of injuries, it should not have been easy from the beginning to state that they could reach.
No, because I want to say that yesterday, talking about surprises, for me, actually, France is also a surprise because looking at the key players they've missed, I think they've done exceptionally well.
Exactly, and that's all the strength of the technical staff and the spirit that they've been installed in this team. You know, because you play without Pogba, without Conte, without Nkunku, without Benzema, without Kimpembe. This is a full squad of 11 players that could perform as well.
The players who can really play in any national team.
Yeah. So this is quite amazing.
Yep. Okay. So let's start with Argentina versus Croatia. Let's start with Argentina. The coach Lionel Scaloni. He was part of the Argentinian Victoria squad 1997 World Youth Cup for FIFA, winning the tournament here in Kuala Lumpur. Scaloni. His role so far, Peter. His influence, yeah.
Yeah, that is so hard to judge from the sideline, but yeah, I have no idea. He hasn't impressed me, but that's mainly because of the first game they played against Saudi Arabia, where I think Saudi Arabia played very compact, but also defended with a very high line, but often no pressure on the ball, and they had no idea how to break that down. So I'm looking as a coach now. What's going to happen in the second half? Well, absolutely nothing, and I think that's where I think you make as a coach, you make differences, and I didn't see that happening, but obviously that is from sitting on the couch like we say in Holland, like an armchair critic. So yeah.
Haresh?
I'm not going to get technical because you have the technical experts here. I'm going to go into the emotions and the history. Look, Argentina came to this World Cup bringing the whole of Argentina. The fans have created an atmosphere in Qatar that mimics what happens in Argentina.
That's true.
Yeah. So that has got the players going. And their unsportsmanlike behavior, I'm going to mention that against the Netherlands, that was really uncalled for. But you know what? It's part of the theoretics. It's part of their morale boosting, journey towards the next step. But let's not forget Croatia, a young nation, 4 million population, but they are hungry. They've seen a war. I mean, Luka Modric's own grandfather was killed in the war when he fled when he was only 6. So that scars still remain. And you know what happens when you have a nation that is still scarred? You have really mentally strong, population. Yeah. So Croatia, if the match extends to anything after 90 minutes, they'd be your best bet to win.
What would be Argentina's strength, Saad?
Yeah, I think it's not a difficult question, right? Apart from Messi?
Apart from Messi, apart from Messi.
I would say regarding Scaloni, because it took only a few years ago, so he won the Copa America with this group of players. He was quite young. And if you look even at the spirit that is within the team, I think he did quite a good job in terms of leadership. Let's not forget that after the first loss against Saudi, the first defeat, they were really close to the elimination. And it takes a lot of mental strength to be able to bounce back and to remain focused when any mistake can send you home. So, and you could feel the whole team still walking around him and fully trusting him. So, which say a lot about maybe what we cannot see on the bench. So I do believe that in terms of leadership, he did quite well. They never failed to support him. And there is a spirit in Argentina that is difficult to duplicate anywhere. But again, that will be a really tough game tonight because they will play a team like Haresh that can play with emotion as well. Really versatile, that can defend really low, that can counter-attack, that can also keep the position. So I'm really looking forward to watch this game.
Julian Alvarez, the Man City striker, is expected to be spearheading the attack. And then Messi will be slightly behind him with Enzo Fernandez and a defense led by Otamendi, a real stalwart. And the keeper Emiliano Martinez has also been crucial. Do you think that they have a slight edge over the Croatians, Saad?
I think this is a 50-50 games, but also regarding that, I'm curious to see how. Let's not forget that Acuna is suspended.
Yes,
when you play with three in the back and you have two guys on the side, it's not easy to replace them. Let's not forget also that there is a doubt maybe about Di Maria participation. If Di Maria come back, they will continue to play with 3 or 5 in the back, or maybe they go back to a fourth-man defender. So I'm curious to see that, and we know a little bit more when we see the lineup. But for me, there is no real favorite. We cannot say that Argentina is over over Croatia looking at the last games.
But with the possibility of this being his last finals, do you think Messi can inspire this team?
I think he will not be the only one on the field looking for that. There is also Modric, and there are many players that will look for the same goal.
Well, it's going to be an interesting one because Croatia has been defensively very good. They have no issue with allowing an opponent to have the ball. When you look at the last 4 teams in the tournament, Argentina is the only team that really dominated on the ball. Not France, not Croatia, not Morocco. But Croatia will be quite comfortable with that, and they have a very strong defense, because also the Juranovic next to the 2 central defenders, the goalkeeper. There's a lot of experience in the squad, and I think it's going to be very interesting whether Messi can make the difference, because they will need Messi to make the difference. I think Messi is their strength, but also their weakness, because they rely a lot on Messi, to find the gap. And look at all the 9 goals they've scored. I think 2/3 of them he's part of it, and They will need a good Messi to win, in my opinion. But it's going to be very interesting.
How do you stop Messi then? If you are Zlatko Dalic, Saad?
If we would have this answer, then it would be much easier for all of us. I think since 20 years, people are looking for this answer.
For the solution.
Of course, this is not the Messi that we used to see 10 years ago. But still, he's smart enough to evolve his game. He played between the line. I think he understood really fast the things that he can still do at that age compared to what he used to be doing before. So it takes a whole team. This is not one player, because he will probably play between the line. He can provide some assists like he did against Netherlands that only him can see, but he can score as well. So this is really not easy to answer that. I believe it takes a few lines and maybe a whole team to answer this question.
Croatia were third in France '98, and then they became runners-up in Russia in 2018. Now they are also on the verge of advancing to the second successive final if they manage to beat Argentina. Is that a surprise, Haresh?
No, it's not. It's not at all. I think the problem with many people out there is that they are too fixated with their favorite teams. You know, like Germany, for example. You know, they were a complete, waste of time. To be honest, they came with so much of arrogance, and yet they were a major flop. Yeah, is it? But Croatia, they remind you of, the four semi-finalists reminds you of a typical classroom setting. You've got the rowdy boys in the form of the Argentinians. You've got the quiet thinkers who will excel in the exams in the form of the Croatians. And then you've got the French guys, who are like your class monitors who are expected to win, to get the A's. And then you have Morocco, the guys who suddenly, out of nowhere. So it's your typical classroom setting. But going back to Messi, sorry, I need to just jump in on what you mentioned earlier. I have a strange feeling that Messi is actually he's so pressured at the moment that he's going to break. And we may see that tonight. And why do I say that? Is because number one, is based on his outbursts.
Against the Netherlands.
Yeah, against the Netherlands. That's number one. Yeah, that's number one. Yeah. And number two, today, he stands one step above Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Because he could finally break that whole debate by claiming to be the best in the world if they make it to the final and if they win. So because of that fixation of wanting to go there, it could possibly break him. I don't know, I could be wrong. The Argentinian fans out there would slam me for this. But yeah, I mean, and the Croats could actually benefit from this, if you ask me.
Modric, Perisic on the left, and you have Brozovic, Kramaric, and in the forward line,
Perisic,
and Kovacic, and Perisic on the left. They have quality, all over.
Yeah. Top quality.
Top quality.
They're all top players, and most of them know the exact amount of maturity that they need to perform at any level. So this is a team that will be difficult to be played tonight. So that's why I don't rate Argentina as a real favorite. Today for me is a 50-50, and Croatia can possibly be in the final like they did 4 years ago.
Yeah, but Brazil against Croatia. Did you expect Croatia to beat Brazil in the quarterfinals?
Well, textbook, yes.
On paper.
On paper, a very textbook approach, yes. Because at the end of the day, look, no offense to the Dutch team, they've had brilliant players, and not just this time around, throughout the years. I remember growing up with the likes of Marco Gomez and your Dennis Bergkamp and watching them play. But individually, they were amazing. But as a team, they just couldn't take it to the next level. So at the end of the day, it's not about saying this player is good, that player is good. It's how they play as a team.
The collective effort, yeah.
Correct. And the French team has proven it, because despite missing so many big names, they have proven that they don't need those big names. All they need is just the French logo. That's it.
Talking about the Brazilian counter, Perisic, left flanker, he had the tactical discipline to really be playing as a second left back, trying to nullify the threat of the Brazilian right flank. So, do you think that they will be adopting a similar approach later?
It depends a little bit, because that is obviously related also to the opponent. I expect them to actually allow Argentina to have the ball, so I think he will already start much deeper rather than to track all the time. But that they have a lot of players behind the ball still in their own half. That is Croatia, and that's not going to change. They're comfortable with that.
At one point, a few years back, Saad, a team like the Spaniards, they were adopting the tiki-taka approach, where they rely on possession-based football. In order to nullify the opponents, they need to have the ball. But now, teams are content to allow their opponents to seize the initiative. And then like what Peter highlighted just now, So that's the trend, the evolution of football today, that an opponent can be allowed to have possession of the ball.
I don't know necessarily if it's a trend, but it's an interesting one because this started 4 years ago with France actually, that became world champion with playing, not being uncomfortable, not having the ball, and relying on
Counter-attack.
well, I don't know if it's necessarily counter-attacking football, but they relied on especially on a fast break. That's true, and maybe it was even because of the strikers they had at the time. If you do have a quick transition with players like Mbappe, but also Pogba, with a lot of pace, it helps if you win the ball and there's still a little bit of space, rather than to win it higher on the park. And now you have 3 of the 4 teams in the final 4 that have not dominated the games on average in possession. So it's it started to look like a trend, but I don't think you you have to compare it, or you should compare it with tiki-taka, because I think possession-based football is always a little bit. There's a lot of miscommunication and misconception on that. Possession-based football sometimes is being explained that that you want to have the ball, but in the end you want to have the ball to be effective to win, because the aim of the game is scoring a goal and not to have the ball. So has always still been about when we have the ball, can we play forward or not? And that was even with tiki-taka. It is only trying to draw an opponent out and then go. And I think the word possession-based, you should be a little bit careful with that terminology, to be honest.
Okay, alright. Your thoughts, Saad?
Yeah, I agree a bit with Peter. We are going more and more toward the transition games. This one has been clearly identified a few years ago. And I believe there is a slight difference when you look at the club level. If you look at any major leagues, if you watch City, they still have the possession and dominate the league. PSG in France still have the possession and dominate the league. Real Madrid, of course, less than Barcelona, but still have the possession. Bayern Munich in Germany still have the possession. But when you go to that type of high-level competition, when all the teams are quite similar in terms of level, I agree with Peter, because any mistake can make the difference. But to identify trends is always difficult. Peter is fully right when he said that France in 2018 played that type of game, because with Didier Deschamps, they have one guy that is pragmatic, or really,
yes.
Whatever it takes to win, he will do it. So this one is clear, and you play according to the quality and the strengths of your players. But let's say that could have been, with some details, if Netherlands win against Argentina, then we have a team that had the possession. If Portugal scores a last-minute goal with Pepe, then we have a team that has the possession. So this is something that is difficult to identify.
Okay. Short prediction: Argentina, Croatia.
Croatia.
Croatia to win. Penalty shootout or full time? 90 minutes, within 90 minutes, regulation time.
Let's. I think Croatia already had 2 in the last 2 games.
Yes.
Shootouts. So let's hope they can do it without this one, and maybe within 90 minutes. I don't know.
Haresh?
I would say Croatia as well, but slightly over 90 minutes.
Okay.
Not to the extent of a penalty shootout, but within the
Alright.
crucial extra time.
Saad?
I see a draw, and then anything can happen in extra time. No, but if I have to pick a team, I would pick Croatia. But again, this is a 50-50 for me. I don't want to.
Okay.
Understood.
Alright. The Footy Forum Qatar World Cup 2022 will be back, and after this, we'll be discussing France and Morocco. Stay tuned.
Follow the Footy Forum for the latest from Qatar. Check out the Sinar Daily social media platforms for the showtimes.
Stay tuned to the Footy Forum all the way till the final.
Red White, back to basics.
Thank you. Welcome back to the Footy Forum Qatar World Cup 2022. You're joining me, Rizal Hashim, and tonight we have Haresh, Deol, Peter de Roo, and also Saad, Ichalalene discussing the semi-finals of the World Cup in Qatar. And don't forget, we have a Peraduan Kau World Cup in order to stand the chance of winning an iPad. Watch the World Cup 2022, eat snacks, and among the prizes to be won, an iPad and 10 original football jerseys, and also touch and go e-voucher. And also do not forget to simply switch to Red One postpaid hybrid 50 unlimited plan only at 50 ringgit monthly, or to cost saving Red One postpaid amazing 38 plan at only 38 ringgit monthly, and you will stand to win official football jersey of World Cup Qatar in 2022, and also get free Al Ihsan voucher worth 50 ringgit for every registration. Thank you for the sponsors. Thank you to the sponsors. Okay, now we move on to the second semi-final, which will take place later tomorrow. Wednesday morning.
Tomorrow 3 a.m.
3 a.m. Yeah. No, that will be Thursday morning. Yeah? Thursday morning. Yes. Okay. You have Moroccan and Algerian lineage in you, but let us start with. Okay, we start with France or we start with Morocco? The French. Okay. Defending champions, and after the incident in Nisna in South Africa, when the team boycotted and the team refused to play to train under Raymond Domenech, then they qualified for the 2014 edition under Didier Deschamps. It was the first World Cup for Didier Deschamps as a coach, and then they won the 2018 edition. Now they are on the verge of creating history, of trying to repeat what Brazil did in 58 and 62, and also Italy in 34 and 38. Do you think they can go the distance, Haresh?
I thought you asked Peter earlier. I thought you were asking Peter
No,
earlier.
oh, okay. Let us start with Haresh.
No, look, I think Peter has already mentioned about the fact that if you look at the four of them, you know, the French team at this particular moment looks solid at every aspect compared to the other three. And of course, we are talking about France and Morocco now. Clearly, everyone is, you know, hoping for the underdog, that whole Moroccan magical journey to continue. Yeah, but look, I think they've had a really good run, but it's France all the way, and they are capable of even repeating and putting themselves in the same category with Brazil and Italy of winning back to back.
Peter, you agree with that?
Yeah, I think France, despite, as mentioned before, despite missing key players, is probably the most complete. They are defensively well organized. Their midfield is well balanced with a good holding midfielder with that, what's his name, Rabiot?
Rabiot.
I like
His boy
actually,
PSG.
I like the deep role of Griezmann, which is a little bit new to him. He does that brilliantly. And they have guys up front who can score a goal and who can create. And they're defensively good. When you look at all the other teams, when you look at Morocco, they're brilliant defensively, but struggle to score a goal. Argentina relies a lot on Messi, and they have another talent. What's his name? Fernandez. But apart from that, I think it's pretty average, to be honest, and they're shaky defensively as well. Croatia defensively very good, struggles to score a goal. When you look at France, they're the most complete, and I think what you will see against Morocco is that they probably will be a little bit more on the ball on the half of the opponent. And Morocco is hard to break down. They only conceded 1 goal, and I think there was an own goal actually.
Yes.
At the same time, they've conceded most chances of any team in the final 4, more than the other 3. But clearly, they have been defending very aggressively in the box, and their goalkeeper has done a great job. So it's going to be hard for France to find the gap. But in the end, I think they have too much quality to not. But in saying that, Morocco will always be dangerous on the counter. I think they do have some quality up front. Ziyech on a wide area, I think he's sometimes not because of that position not enough on the ball to be valuable for Morocco. And I actually don't mind the guy on the left. What's his name? Buffon?
Buffon.
Sofiane Boufal, yeah. Sofiane
Buffon,
Boufal.
yeah. He plays in France, right?
Yes.
Angers.
Yeah.
Bottom of the league.
And the one that's hardly ever been spoken about is Amrabat. I think he plays an outstanding tournament, and I think he's the best holding midfielder in the tournament right now.
There's a question by Alia Ahmad. What do you guys think of most of the world-class teams being knocked out by the underdog teams? What are the factors of this failure? Maybe Saad, you can answer this.
First, I don't think there are many teams that has been sent home by underdogs, because we consider Morocco maybe like this, but if we talk about Brazil and Croatia, we cannot consider Croatia as an underdog. This is one of the top teams in the world. So of course they can beat anyone in any competition. But then looking at Morocco performance, of course against Spain and Portugal, they were difficult to predict. But if you, as Peter said yesterday, if you look at the games in a group stage against Canada, against Belgium, against Croatia, Morocco have proven that they were on par with all these teams, and most of the time even better. I'm just worried about in which physical level of fitness they will be today, because they have lost several key players, especially the captain Romain Saïs, Aguirre the game before. We have still 1 or 2 players on top, so I will see if they can repeat this amount of effort another time. But as Peter says, they will defend. They will defend. This one is clear. I think the coach again said it today. He take France as an example from 2016 and 2018. So they're ready for that. But without key players, it will be more difficult. But again, France is not always the most comfortable team with the ball all the time. So I'm curious to see how they could perform. Of course, if they score early, then that will be a different game. But if they fail to find the net, then
everyone has been talking about Mbappe, but we seem to forget that Griezmann has been creating the damage most for the French team. I remember against Poland, he was right. I think the nearest to Lloris, the keeper, and he cleared the ball for Giroud to receive the ball, which led to Ousmane Dembele's pass to Mbappe to score that second goal. He was playing so deep in such a role. Do you think that he's the most influential player in the French team, Saad?
One of the most influential for sure. What is clear, this is that he has been amazing. Not only with the ball on his feet, like we said, but also in his behavior defensively, the distance that he covers every game, the humility that he displayed to do that.
No ego, for him to.
No ego. He used to be playing much more closer of the goalpost, but now for the team, he accepts in the beginning to run, to defend, to participate to the building of the game, the build-up of the game, and even with that, he still managed to beat the record of assists in national team in the last game.
Assists, eh?
So this is an amazing performance, and in terms of leadership, I can guarantee you that within the team, he's
He
well
seems
well
to be
listened.
the live wire. When we see the Instagram, all the social media of the French team, he seems to be enjoying himself. You know,
Yeah, of course.
he's the maybe he's the joker in the team. Yet when it comes to delivering on the pitch, he's the maestro. They say that online I read that he combines the combativeness of Luis Fernandez, the energy of Jean Tigana, the technique of Alain Giresse, and the vision of Platini.
So the quatuor.
That's
That's a huge comparison.
but he alone.
He alone.
That means he's such an important figure, Peter.
No, I think it's just interesting to see him in this role, because we're not used to see him like this, and the way he does it is also maybe something you would not have expected necessarily. But I agree with he doesn't shy away from the hard work,
From the responsibility.
and his input in the overall performance of France is magnificent, and I thought it was really exciting to see him play in that position.
Haresh, your thoughts? Griezmann and 2014, I think he was a right winger or left flanker.
You know, there's a lot of debate about him not scoring this time around.
Yes.
And you know what? The fans wouldn't even care if he doesn't score this time around, because he's played such a crucial role, new role, and it's been and he's adapted so very well.
He seems to enjoy it actually.
Exactly.
That's what you
And
can see.
that could be his role from now on.
Yeah.
And you know what? So be it if he doesn't score, but he will assist. He will make the goals happen in his own way, and he could be one of the very reasons why France will do the double.
Do you think the fact that he was not playing due to contractual obligations with Atletico Madrid, he had enough rest, and he hasn't been playing full 90 minutes in La Liga. So that means he has the energy.
I think your mental awareness and the way you feel is highly important. Griezmann never disappointed in French national team almost over the years. Let's not forget that he has been in difficulty in Barcelona for a few years with high pressure on himself. Then he came back with Atletico Madrid with this clause on his contract that was lifted the last 2 months. But still, I feel him really happy, like Peter said. He's really happy. He enjoys, he works hard. He's respected by his coach, by his teammates. So for sure, he will deliver the level of performance that we expect from him.
Okay. Now, Walid Regragui, how do you pronounce it?
Regragui.
Born in France. In fact, played with Olivier Giroud. Together. I think,
in third division.
They were playing together, and very familiar opponents. And 14 born outside Morocco, and I think 5 or 6 of them are playing in French league, Ligue 1.
And some also even playing against each other, in Spain and in England.
In England, yes. So this familiarity will that be an advantage for the Moroccans?
Again, I think at that level they all know each other. They play regularly, European Cup, leagues or whatever. What is sure this is that you will have some interesting duels, of course on the left side of attacking French, Mbappe, and right side of defending line with Hakimi. But everywhere in the field you will have some players that know each other. But talking about Regragui, that's really interesting to notice that he never coached at any high level in Europe. He was just starting. Then went to Africa to coach the Wydad Casablanca, with who he won the African Champions League last year against Al-Ahly. And he was part of the first promotion of African Pro License. So which is something also important for whole Africa. So and the way that the team is fighting for them, but for him also doing this tournament, show that he has done a good job.
And they have several key players like Amrabat and center.
Unai, that has been for me amazing. The number 8, Unai.
Yeah. And Wuhani at number 8. Yeah. Mourinho was also impressed with.
Luis Enrique, and I heard today that Barcelona was interested in him.
Yes.
This is a player that 2 years ago was playing in 3rd division in France. So,
but now, yes, they've raised their game to such a level.
Still 22 years old, so really top player for me. So if they are there, this is not randomly. I think that if they are at that level in semi-final, you never reach a semi-final without having quality players.
Yeah.
So you have Amrabat that is doing quite well also with Fiorentina. You have Unai, of course, that is in difficulty with NG, but sure during the World Cup that is amazing. Ziyech that has played amazing game despite being in difficulty at Chelsea. Saad that was amazing. Bruno is not a surprise. He has been best goalkeeper of La Liga with Sevilla. So Hakimi, of course, the top player.
Bruno in a league that has Thibaut Courtois, Ter Stegen, and yet he's voted the best keeper.
2 years ago, last year,
as the Zamora Trophy winner.
He's been amazing, to be honest.
He could be playing a crucial role.
Of course.
I mean, when Datuk Richard Scully was here, I mean, he said, and at that time he said that Bruno was clearly the best goalkeeper, and in my heart I thought that's rather premature because you're only talking about the group stage. But you know what, Datuk Richard, if you're watching, damn, you were spot on.
When Dato Richard Scully says that, it's just true.
Be careful, you're looking us, huh?
It's spot on. I take back my doubts.
Prediction.
So congrats, Richard.
I think it's going to be another hopefully spectacular game. I mean, you would love after everything they've done in this tournament. That the Moroccan players can do something special for their country, because their country is going mad, and the players have been displaying an absolute, example of a good attitude, but also keeping control over your behavior, and they have been extremely focused. But in the end, I think the lack of the scoring ability and the fact that France has hardly any weak spots, and I think at some point Mbappé or Giroud or whatever will find a gap. So I think in the end France will win that game. I think they have too much quality, but it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, Haresh,
I'm going to miss the mothers because it's such a beauty seeing the mothers.
Even the coach hug.
Correct.
It's
beautiful
beautiful moment.
Beautiful scene, beautiful moment. You don't see that often, But I mean, realistically, look, I wish there was a fairy tale ending to the Moroccan adventure. It's amazing that the team has pretty much united so many people in so many ways. But France deserve to be in the final.
They deserve to be in the final.
They deserve to be in the final.
What about the Moroccans? They don't deserve to be in the final.
Look, I mean, I wish them well.
I think Morocco will win on a penalty shootout.
I think if Morocco tomorrow wins, they deserve it, to be honest.
If they win, then they deserve it. Yeah.
Either way, Saad will be happy.
He can't lose.
He can't lose. Your prediction?
I will say like my fellow colleagues, I will say France.
You say France,
objectively,
So I'm the only one who will be picking Morocco then.
Yes, maybe you will be the only one that will be right, right?
Why?
First, the surprise effect, even if it was not the case for the last game, of course is not there anymore, because now all people know what type of game to expect from them, and they have been really performant. And then, again, the level of fitness is something that must be talked about, because today, again, the coach say, we are not tired. We are not tired. This is the second time that he said that.
As a reminder to the players that actually they are tired, maybe.
Usually, if you have to say that and to repeat it, it shows that maybe you're not that confident about that. And there are some players in doubt, in terms of injuries. Yes. So, we say France. but of course it will be a tough game. And,
But you'll never know another 9 feet 1 inch, you know, leap, you know, could just make a difference.
Unnecessary. the forward, yeah.
Crazy, man.
everything is possible.
You
Like
said unnecessary,
crazy.
yeah, anything is possible.
Yeah.
But maybe the match will be determined by a penalty shootout and Morocco to win, maybe. You know. Thank you, gentlemen, for your
Thanks,
time and for this
Thank you for having us.
deep and tactical analysis and discussion. And as Croatia and Morocco, they have one thing in common. They aim to be in the final and to be the 9th nation to be winning the World Cup, while Argentina and France will be seeking their 3rd World Cup title. Thank you very much for those who have been loyal watching and still tuning in to the Footy Forum World Cup 2022 Qatar. We'll be back ahead of the final on Sunday, so enjoy the 2 semi-final matches later tonight and also tomorrow morning, later tomorrow Thursday morning. See you guys.